So I know it's been a while. It has, in fact, been a while. Like, you wouldn't believe it's been this long. However, a lot of the situation was due to unplanned reasons. Yeah, unplanned situations. Let's just say I was stuck with some pretty unfortunate things in my situation. Like, I had to be in more or less a place I didn't want to be. Now, this place being some particularly interesting in terms of how backdated the ideology. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that I had to be stuck with some people I really didn't want to be with because they're not exactly the nicest on certain things. And, like, they even said, like, "Hey, you don't have a right to privacy. It's your house." Like, it's a circus, and so I couldn't really do anything, and so I ended up wasting 3 months because of a household renovation, displacing me into a place I really didn't wanna be that was really not conducive to anything good. So that was its own saga and a half. Then, on rare occasions, I finally, after I was free of them for once and for all, not just temporarily, the problem became that the computer I'm doing this on, some hair got in the fan as I was trying to VTube, and, well, to make a long story short, it had to be repaired, and even then, it's like, I'm still gonna be very careful for this. It's not even like it's just a complete saga, and again, it doesn't and even today, it's not been very good in the situation I'm in. But hey, I managed to do a lot of reworks to my avatar to make it, more me, I guess. But unfortunately, the problem I mean, I spent a lot of effort making it look good, and I even like, went through Booth, then I went through the free parts of a paid Booth item. Like, it was ridiculous, but I managed to get something that I think I'm proud of for now. Unfortunately, like, I hate dealing with the fact that, you know, people I and I mean and so a certain game I play, it's kind of changed a lot in the time since I last played it at the start of summer, which has now been eaten up. And now I have only 2 weeks to do my creative stuff before university starts back up again, and I will never forgive the people responsible for doing so that. Like, legitimately, all of this has just hardened me into someone who it probably is a bit not exactly well adjusted, to say the least. And unfortunately, there is collateral here, and that is the basically having to deal with people who, like, it's and I've dealt with my fair share of internet sagas, and I had to take my fair share of breaks from some communities because things have just been kept getting out of control more often because I'm starting to deal with such a stressful situation. It's not even funny, and it's like I just want peace. I want to be out of this mess. And at least certain things I'm worried about don't really affect me, but, like, it's still, like, a complete mess because I wish I could say, like, but, I so yet again, another year comes by where I haven't updated things, but this time the factors I had no control over, and it's the worst part, and again, it's more and more incentive for me to finish university and then get out of Dodge and go no contact because I've dealt with way too much problems these days and it's just annoying. And I wish I could say things were exactly happy on the home front, but they're not. And I mean, I sort of, I found new ways relaxing, but then I've burned through other sources of entertainment. It's like none of this is exactly what I consider happy. It's like no things I want to do creativity. Just like, sometimes I don't have the energy to do it, and I have to force myself to even do it in the first place until I get tired again, or I can try to see how things go. It's not really the most fun thing I have to deal with, and the problem I have to deal with is that. But I suppose I should tell you a few things, and that is I did something I didn't think I could do a year ago, but and I found out that a lot of new games used Unifont EX, which is cool, but, the worst thing I had but, like, it's a case of I can't do anything about that till September, and then I have 2 more Septembers to deal with that because it's gonna get special, and the worst part of all this is that, like, objectively speaking, what I'm doing here is just kind of its own thing. It is what it is, and unfortunately, I've had to deal with a lot of fun stuff. Like, I mean I got a Switch too, but I can't really play it 'cause the TV dock, we don't have a compartment to put it on for the TV, so, I just kind of don't have many options. But at a friend's house, I played Mario Kart World, and it's trash. Same problems as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, hands down. Well, it's not like I can buy any more games later either, so that's not in the cards either. Plus side, I had new glasses, and, well, offline, I do look and even walk a little different, if that makes any sense. But hey, what's funny is, like, you'd expect things to go a certain way, but they didn't go a certain way. And, I'm not doing OBS. I'm on my horse, not doing OBS right now. I'm just seeing how things go here. But in reality, I might as well eventually, maybe if I have time, do VTuber reacts to something. I can't do Sarah Pyro though, because I already watched that person's videos. So there's that. But, you know, it's been my experience that the internet is a wild story. It's like, but believe me, yeah, I hate that Naruto and V9 don't exactly support, like, straight up. They don't support, well, they have bad hand tracking, but they don't support a 2D background. I want to use this artwork of mine as a background, but unfortunately, I can't do that, and it just doesn't work. So, well, there you go. And the funny thing about all this is, I don't know. There's a lot of things going on here, and I wish I could say that I had a happy summer. No, this is probably one of my worst summers ever. After a semester that almost went horribly wrong, but didn't. And gosh, I still have that article to write about educational software. I forgot about that. But hey, I've had reason to forget because of all my personal life completely falling apart, and it's not exactly been a good situation, if that makes any sense. And well, at this point, I'd say I'm kind of, it's just like I've had so much drama happen this summer, it's not even funny. And it's like, at what and I'm never gonna get the 2 months of being stuck with people who are over 60 and just utterly bad at that. Like, I'm just like, no, I'm sorry, but at this point, I've completely, I don't know how I do in tech support with, Granny because trauma, I guess, but, like, I don't wanna deal with people who are, like, deliberately illiterate about computers or Luddites or technology traditionalists, what do you wanna call them? I have no patience for people who don't are not technologically literate and are not willing to learn and are saying and are trying to defend that they're too basic. No, I'm not the defender of the basic here. I'm someone who just literally, like, I mean, even other nerds don't understand me, which is kind of funny. But like, since other nerds don't understand me, it's like, what do you expect when other nerds don't understand you? It's a completely ridiculous situation, I assure you. Ridiculous situation, I assure you. Now, I would go and say that, like, it's just, I may be a nerd, but like, it's not like, I mean, I've had it to the point where even other nerds are like, they don't get what I'm talking about, or they don't even try to understand it. It's like, well, not try per se, but the nerds in question seem to have a very funny habit of, shall I say, telling me like, "Hey, I might be nerdy, but I don't under but even I don't know what you're talking about or whatever. Like, there's nerd and there's whatever I'm at, and unfortunately, it causes people to, like, you know I mean, at least I've completely cleaned up the mess of last semester, and unfortunately, because of one of my household members retiring, I'm gonna have to do every video, this type of thing at midnight or later, unfortunately. No bones about it, and, that's unfortunate. Not to mention I have a bunch of other stuff I'm dealing with, but, well, again, I'm at college at more or less wand point. I don't have anything I already have a degree, but, like, I'm sort of being stuck into getting a higher tier one, even if it's not technically healthy for in the case given the way things have so far sort of gone. It's not like it's and unfortunately, I have to and I mean, I've upgraded my phone, which is good, and my computer now has a new drive upgrade as a result of this whole drama, but, like, it's just, like, not even worth every part of the situation is awful, and, you know, it's made me extremely uncharitable towards people who, towards both the ancient and the well, and I hate to say it, but, like, you know, if you thought I hated being called dude in the past, well, guess what? Like, at this point, I've surpassed that level of, anti-patriarchy type of thing, as in, like, legitimately speaking, I'm not going to put mask posting moments on Reddit. Though, honestly, perhaps that though I admit it is out of just sort of just sheer enough with just, it's kind of like I've never had any positive binary figures growing up, at least in terms of, family figures. And so of course I became non-binary, but like, well, unfortunately, over the years I've become more and more hardened against what isn't that. Well, due to partially because of drama from the bad figures. I mean, maybe actually being fatherless would have been an improvement for me. So anyone using that insult kind of actually gives me a wish, ironically. But hey, plus it's I just don't like dealing with people who try to control me or hegemony or whatever. And unfortunately, it's just not even worth considering to be every part of the situation is just wrong. Like I can't believe I'm having to say this, but you know, at least and at this point I'm like I hate getting anyone who thinks I get scared by the sound of people knocking on the door just because of trauma. I literally hear, the whole situation with the stair I literally hear, and I'm not kidding, I've become adept at hearing footsteps to know, if something is impending or if it isn't, and it's not exactly a fun or happy thing exactly, and I wish there were better ways but, it's just kind of annoying, and I just feel things could have been better, but no, I was born to the wrong parents. Not in the wrong body per se, but just born to the wrong parents. And well, I and yet my family seemed to said, "Oh, hey, you could have done so many other things rather than sticking around and endure." But no, every excursion was a waste of time to make this whole avatar. I spent the whole summer doing it because I kept being led around or just And remember, I'm more than of a I should be able to leave, but unfortunately, due to decisions I made in the past, that didn't happen. And so I'm just I'm so infuriated, the fact that and what's worse is that I had no say over this, and that the contractor bungled everything during the renovation. It was such a complete circus that even my family's having buyer's remorse now. Well, are you happy now? I'm sorry, but uh, you asked for this and you received it and you didn't like it and you caused undue harm to someone. Ugh, I mean, it was already there to begin with, but like there's just a lot of things I don't exactly feel happy about dealing with because it just I wish things could have been better, but no, my summer had to be ruined. I putting off sound fonts until I can. I'm gonna have to make the how the X edit. Ugh. Then finally do sound fonts on my spare time while I'm taking a math class, 2 math classes, of course, I absolutely hate. Like, God, math is horrible, but I don't have any choice in it because it's my major, and it's just a complete circus, so whenever I find time that isn't gonna academically nuke me, I'll do something with it, but don't expect me to actually, like, no, I'm gonna take that time back no matter what it takes to do. Mind you, I might as well ban renovations in 15 years. Yeah, those who know, but, well, yeah, no. I mean, well, not ban renovations exactly, but more ban them under certain conditions where basically everyone in the household has to say yes, no holdouts, and, the people involved also cannot be over 80, or actually over 60 for that matter, just to really drive things home. Because, I'm just not happy, unfortunately, because I'm dealing with a bunch of I knew I was related to bad people, but this is a whole new kettle of fish, and I'm not happy about it, to say the least. Like, legitimately, none of this has been a happy situation, and I wish things could, be better for me, but they're not. So, I know this is just another event, but, like, the reason I've been gone so far is because 'cause I've been more or less dealing with the absolute worst things that you can deal with, and it's not been pretty or fun for that matter, and I wish all of this never happened. I wish I had a pleasant summer, but no, I didn't even get a chance to do swimming. I could've gone swimming, but I didn't not because trying to get some Avatar stuff or whatever, and so I don't know how that's gonna play into things, but, well, I do have I am on things that cause so I can just be like, "Hey, that happened, so." And not that I can do any other things, but, like, but seriously, anyone who's, like, saying BMI requirements are a good thing, no, screw that. That doesn't need to exist. No. Plus the whole clot argument has just gone completely out the window recently. So, what's the point? And, like, ugh. So I gotta deal with that saga when it happens, and I'm just honestly not gonna be I wish things were happier, and it's like, I hate, like, when people are, like, saying I should eat right or exercise because, like, I mean, my reasons against doing so are sensory and medical for that matter. So, anyone trying to suggest that I try to do something I is that really isn't workable, pound sand, please. Just don't even like. There's a lot of things I wish I could do, but like, I know this is gonna sound completely absurd and utterly wacky, but like I had to deal with so much, it's not even funny, and ugh, it's just a circus. And yeah, I would have been able to do a lot of like it's just all the odd things I said I would do, I weren't able to do them because I was being someone else's show pony, and it wasn't even funny. Like, I know this is, like, 20 minutes of ranting, but, like, I hate dealing with at this point, I would have been better off as an orphan, hands down, knowing what I know now. And, like, I know I'm gonna get yelled at for being up, late, and I don't care, but certainly better than them, like, hearing things now that, like, the retirement's gone. It's like, objectively speaking, none of this is a happy situation, and I hate that it's turned out like this, but, well, it's partly my own fault. But, well, I should have learned to drive in 2018, and I could have gotten no contact much sooner, but I didn't because I'm just not happy. Suppose that's a good place to end this, but, if I might talk about some interesting rabbit holes eventually, but I think mm, I'll see if they can find mine the next stream, honestly, because I'm on a roll right now, and I don't even want to like get into the territory of screwy wooey stuff because that's not going to exactly, you know, that it ain't healthy to dwell on that. But it is what it is. Anyhow, I think that will be it for the day. Let's hope my audio wasn't mangled this time, because if so, that would be really awful. So, see you on the other side. Ciao.